Welcome back to another video. In this video, we'll take a look at error handling in Python. Being human, we are going to produce errors in our code. So we need to deal with errors in our program. A prime example is when there is a user input error. The user specifies the wrong type of value and the program was not designed or written for the value the user has specified. So how do we overcome this in Python? What can we do to handle errors? In Python, there are two main kinds of errors, and these are called syntax errors and exceptions. Syntax errors, also known as parsing errors, where you have not followed the syntax and written something syntactically incorrect. For example, 10 equals x, which is not allowed in Python because you cannot declare a variable starting with a numeric value. And then there are exceptions, where errors are detected during execution are called exceptions. And these are nothing to do with the syntax, but more so the program was not able to deal with something. For example, imagine you're pointing x to the console, but that variable x has not even been defined. This would produce one of many possible exceptions, in this case a name error, or let's say you are concatenating a string to an integer. So you would get a type error for this because you cannot concatenate a string to an integer. And Python has many built-in exceptions to handle many types of errors. So we can see some of the common ones. For example, assertion error is raised when an assert statement fails. Arithmetic errors. This is a base class for numeric calculation errors, and then there's specific ones in relation to arithmetic errors. For example, zero division error when you are dividing by zero, if you are trying to divide by zero. Overflow error, which is an arithmetic overflow. And the third one is floating point calculation error. File not found error. This is raised when an operation attempts to open a file that does not exist. And this is a subclass of the OS error exception. Import error. Import error raised when an import statement fails. So when you are importing something. Type error raised when an operation is applied to an object of an inappropriate type. And right at the bottom we have value error. And this is raised when a function receives an argument of the correct type but an inappropriate value. In fact, let's move away from PowerPoint and take a quick look at a couple of these errors. So here we are going to produce a zero division error. Let's divide 10 by 0. And then if we run the file, we can see it's produced a zero division error. And the reason for it is division by 0. Or we can do print x, which is not even defined. So if we run the file again, we would get a name error. Name x is not defined. So now that we have had a look at a couple of these errors, if you have noticed, the program stops when it produces an error. We need to deal with the exceptions or the program would crash and it would not be able to continue with the rest of the program. So with Python, it has built-in functionality to deal with these errors, and there are some keywords or some statements that help with handling these errors, and the first one is try. This is where we try to run the code, and this is where we check for errors. It contains the code that might raise an exception. The next one is except. Except is if we do run into an error, then we run the block of code associated with except. So except is there to handle particular exceptions. So with the first two, we try, and if that fails, except if we get any errors, then we run the block of code associated with except. Next is else, and else will run the block of code associated with else if there were no errors. So try has to be successful for else to execute, and else contains a code to be executed if the try block does not raise an exception. And then there is finally. Finally always runs. It runs regardless of what happens to the code, and this is really there to clean up your code, so to close any files and so on. So to summarize, we check for errors with the try statement. If we get an error, we run the block of code under the except statement. If it never raised an exception, in other words, try was successful, then we run the block of code associated with else. And finally, we always run the block of code associated with finally. I'm going to give you 3 examples of using the exceptions and using the try and except keywords. And then we will have a look in PyCharm on how we would use all 4 of these with our code. So here I have 3 examples. The first one is a generic exception to catch all types of errors. It's a base class for all built-in exceptions. So although in this example Python raises a value error because the int function is attempting to convert its argument into an integer, but as ABC is a string containing non-numeric characters, so it cannot be converted into an integer, this produces a value error. So using a generic exception, this will catch all types of errors. And for the generic error, it will print caught a generic exception occurred. The second one in blue is an index error. I use to catch any indexes that are out of range. So as we can see, we tried to print 5 to the console, but the elements in my list are these 3, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2. So the indices are 0, 1 and 2, where 5 does not exist. So this time we are specifying the type of exception, which is the index error. So this raises an index error. And with the index error, it will print error list index out of range. And the last one is a permission error because the user did not have the right permissions to open a file in this path using the right operation. So with this error occurring, this will print error permission denied. So these are some very basic examples of using the try and except keywords. Let's have a look in PyCharm how we will build these two as well as the other two, else and finally. So try, except, else and finally around our code. In PyCharm, let's keep it simple and let's do something like, let's request a person's age and specify the int function for integer to convert the user's output to an integer because it's a string by default, but we want to convert it to an integer. So we want to know the age. We're going to ask the user, what is your age? And we are going to pass this off using the int function. So let's run the file. What is your age? If I specify 20, it prints the age out to the console as we have specified this in the second line here. But if I run the file again and I type the word 20, we receive an exception, and this time it's called a value error. Invalid literal for int with base 10 20. It's basically saying it's not an integer or it cannot convert it to an integer. Python is not happy that we passed the word 20 to the int function. It was expected a numeric value, or it can only do this with a numeric value. So we need some way of handling the errors, and this is where we can use the keywords we just had a look at in PowerPoint. So we would start off by using the try keyword. It's almost like saying try to do something. And then there is the except keyword. So try this, except if something is not working correctly, let's do something different instead. So we will try to convert the user input to an integer by specifying try at the top of our code or above our first line of code. And we need to indent the code below it as these two lines now belong to the try keyword statement, as these are what the code is trying to do. So the block of code indented below try will be associated to the try keyword. And then we add our except keyword at the bottom and write our code of what will happen if the user does not type an integer and instead the program sees a value error or any other type of error. You can put other exceptions in here as well. And for this we can print something to the user, and this needs to be indented as well, as this block of code belongs to the except clause. So it follows the same syntax as conditional statements. You have to indent the code. So let's print try, pass what is your age to the input function and print age to the console, except value error. So in this specific exception we are looking for a value error, but we can look for a name error and other types of errors if we wanted to. We just specify more exceptions below this exception, and let's print please type an integer. So if the user types a word like 20 or hello, the except value error will catch the value error or the exception, and it will print please type an integer. Notice we're using a value error, so the program is being designed to catch a value error, but there are many other errors it can catch, and we can create many of these except statements to catch other types of errors, or even a catch all to catch all errors. But a catch all error is not specific enough, so it's difficult to understand what went wrong. So usually it's best practice we try and be specific with the type of errors we catch. Now if we run the code, we specify 20, that's fine, we get the response of 20. If we run the code again, we specify anything else like 20, the word 20, or even hello. Now this time it's caught the exception, the value error. So it's printing out, please specify an integer. However, there's also another thing as best practice, and we should try to run the fewest lines of code as possible, especially if it was a complicated and longer program. We should change the 2 lines of code underneath try to 1 and keep it as minimal as possible. Instead, what we can do is move line 3, printing age to the console, away from the block of code under try and move it to the bottom and without indentation to say we run this print function regardless. However, by moving the print function, although we have improved the block of code under try, we have introduced a new issue, because if we now run the code, it works fine if we produce an integer like 20, but if we type a word of 20, we receive a name error. Name age is not defined. And this is because age has not been defined. We tried to pass a string to the integer function or a word to the integer function that cannot be converted to an integer, so it never defined it. We got an error instead. And then we are telling it to print age, but we don't have the age as it could not convert it. And if you notice, the print function is not indented, so regardless of what happens above, whether the try is successful or not, it will attempt to print it to the console, even if there has been no successful conversion. And to resolve this issue, this is where the keyword or statement else comes into play. So the else clause is used. Else is a familiar keyword in conditional statements, which is used as a catch-all, and we can also use it here. So what the else is saying is, if nothing goes wrong, do the following. Or in other words, if the try is successful and it gathers user input and can convert it to an integer in our case, only then carry out the block of code under else, which will be to print it to the console in our case. Let's put the else in, and as usual, indent the block of code underneath it, which is 1 line in this case. It's just the print statement. So now what the code is saying is try retrieve user input and convert it to an integer, except if something goes wrong and there's an exception of value error, then print please type an integer. Else if nothing goes wrong, print age to the console. So it only does the else if the try is successful, otherwise it will execute the except keyword and block of code as part of it. Let's run the file. And if we specify 20 as numeric values, it runs fine as usual. So this was successful, so it bypasses the except block of code and it executes the block of code as part of the else keyword. But if we specify a string of 20 with characters, words, no numeric values this time, Python executes the except keyword and its block of code, and we see please type an integer. But as we can also see, it exits out of here, so it does not actually allow the user to specify an integer. We'd have to run it again. So what we can do instead, we can throw all of our code into a loop, into a while loop specifically, so it lets the user try and try again until it successfully converts it to an integer. And for that we will type while true with a colon at the top and indent the rest of the code. And this time, as part of the else clause and printing the age to the console, we need to break out of the loop if it's been successful, as otherwise the loop would run forever. And then we print age on a new line once we are out of the loop. At this point, however, we would have successfully converted the user input to an integer, hence why it broke out of the loop. So it makes sense to print regardless of the code above it. So we're going to print age to the console once the code above breaks out of the loop. Now if we run the file again, let's run it with the numeric value of 20, and it prints fine again as usual. Let's run the file again. Let's type in something else like ABC123, and before I hit enter, just to go over what's going on again, this time we start off by being inside the while loop, then the try part of the code was successful, so it skips the except value error here, and we end up breaking out of the loop. And then it continues to go down the lines of code. So the next one down is it happens to print out the age to the console. So it prints the age. So that's what's just happened when we printed 20 as a numeric value. Let's print out ABC123, specify an integer. What is your age? So we can see this time round we are in the while loop. It's not broken out because it's not received a successful integer value. It's not been successful passing it back to the int function. So it's false while true, and then it goes through this and breaks out the loop. But this time it's not been successful, so it's asking again, what is your age? So if we type something else, hello, again, what is your age? It's not going to break out the loop. Let's type 20. And you see the point, it's not going to break out the loop. So the only way we can break out the loop is if we type a numeric value, which can be converted to an integer. So let's type 20. And it's broken out of the loop first, where we've got the break, and then printed 20 to the console, which we have over here. So we are using the value error, but there are also many other error types, as we can see on the screen here. So I've got this from the Python documentation, and you can create more exceptions here. So we could have copied this, pasted it again below, and changed this to a name error, for example, and then customized what we wanted to print to the console if we caught a name error, and so on. So you can specify as many exception errors here as you would require, depending on what you have in your code and what type of exceptions you want to catch. And then we have one more clause, which is the finally clause, and this clause runs regardless. So no matter what happens with your code, this clause will run. So it would even run if you hit an error, or if your code runs perfectly fine, this will run regardless either way. And it's typically used to place your cleanup code here. So for example, when you work with advanced Python programs, such as when you want to close handles to any open files, so you want to close down files so they are not being locked by an operating system, for example, or you have variables and objects, and when you need to release handles to those objects. So any of that cleanup code will go under the finally clause. However, in this demo, we don't have any handles open or any files open. So we would specify the finally clause at the bottom. And what goes under here is your code cleanup stuff. And that's it for this video. That's an overview of how to handle errors and exceptions in Python.